Hey everyone, this is J-Dog, and I'm here with another video. And this is another edition of History of Blackness, where we talk about historical moments. This is the second season where we talk about historical moments involving the contributions that the black community has brought in America as we celebrate the Black History Month. So, in this video, we're going to talk about the Harlem HellFighters. These were black soldiers who fought during in the final months of World War I. As the United States was entering the war in 1917, which is World War I, by the way. Yes, the war technically started in 1914 due to conflicts involving with Austria-Hungary and Serbia after an assassination happened with one of the leaders in Austria-Hungary. Serbia had allies such as the UK, France, and Russia, and Austria-Hungary had. Oh, by the way, Austria-Hungary is now today known as, separated to two nations, one Austria, the other one Hungary, but they were actually one nation, one empire. Their allies included Germany and the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria. This is for those who don't know about the history of World War I. But the Germans were the ones who did, just like the war that would happen later, World War II, the Germans, interesting enough, were the ones who did the most damage, the most invasions and stuff like that. Though they were not the ones that started the war, of course they would be the ones that started World War II. Whole different story, but yes. So, the United States, the Allies, they were losing to the Germans, and they needed the extra help. And here comes the 369th Regiment, which is the all-black unit. Of course, they will be known as the Harlem HellFighters because no matter if you killed one, more would come back. Or it was hard for them to eat. They didn't really get as much killed. But they fought, kept going into some of the most dangerous missions, and they were in the front lines at the West Bank, which was between France and Belgium, as they were trying to hold off against the German fleet that was trying to invade. The Harlem HellFighters started off as the 15th New York Infantry Regiment, which was part of the National Guard. Now, they only just did training and patrol within New York at first because they didn't want to send them to fight in World War I. Of course, as you know, the times, segregation, black soldiers were in separate units from white soldiers. So not only were they fighting against foreign enemies, they were also fighting against the racism within the country that didn't see the value in having them fight in World War I. They didn't think that the black soldiers would be able to fight. But when they were finally allowed, because of course America was losing the war and they needed the extra help, the 369 Regiment, the Harlem HellFighters, came in, and then France was the one that said that they needed help from the U.S. military, so they brought in the HellFighters, and throughout the final days they were protecting the West Bank in France, and they were able to beat the Germans. And the HellFighters was part of the most hardworking unit. suffered the most casualties, but they were able to fight off the Germans, which led to the victory of the Allies, which is France, England, and France, United Kingdom, and the United States would win as part of the conglomerate known as the Allies. And it was all thanks to help from black soldiers like the Harlem HellFighters, which you see up there. And here's the thing. They got a medal in France. France was more respectful to the black soldiers that you see up here and gave them war medals for their heroics. Unfortunately, when they got back home, they had to still deal with the racism, and they weren't giving any medals to the black soldiers. It took nearly years and years before black soldiers were finally given medals of honor from the United States of America. Ain't that sad? Very sad. Foreign countries, even the enemies acknowledge how great the HellFighters were, the Harlem HellFighters were. The French gave them medals of honor during World War I and towards the end of World War I. But back here in the United States, they were still being mistreated, lynched even. Finally, in the later years, the black soldiers of the 369th Regiment, the Harlem HellFighters, were finally granted medals starting around in the 70s up until the President Obama was elected, where he gave some of the members of the HellFighters, like Henry Johnson, the Presidential Medal of Honor. So it took years for these men to be recognized for their bravery on the battlefield and through the trenches, because trench war was very harsh out there. I've heard a lot of horror stories about trench warfare, but the HellFighters managed to prevail. This, like I said, this photo is of some of the members of the Harlem HellFighters. Their bravery was finally recognized from presidents like Obama. Former President Obama they were finally getting the recognitions today. But it's a shame that it took them for almost decades to finally get the recognitions. But we still remember the bravery that these men had to go through. They weren't just fighting against a foreign enemy. They were also fighting against the mindsets of people that didn't believe in them. Some of them finally changed, some did not, but this was their way of fighting against doubts, the doubts from other people that didn't think they had the will to fight, but they did show that they had a bigger will than you think to fight. So, yes, this is the Harlem HellFighters, once known as the 15th New York Infantry Regiment of the National Guard. Later it became the 369th Regiment. By the way, the HellFighters name came from what the Germans called them, the ones that the HellFighters were fighting. So even the enemy that they were fighting acknowledged their skill, their bravery, and their strength. But that's all I have to say. This is another video of history of blackness. We continue to celebrate the great works of what black people have done during Black History Month, including recognizing the 369th Regiment, aka the Harlem HellFighters. But that's all I have to say. If you have any ideas of any historical figures that I probably should talk about, although We only have like a few days left in Black History Month, so if you have any historical figures that I have not talked about in either season 1 or this season, or if I have to wait till next year, if you put down in the comment section if there's anyone that you think I should talk about. Also, whatever you think about this video, also write down that in the comment section. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that notification bell. And this is another edition of History of Blackness. This is J-Dog. Thank you for watching, and I hope to catch y'all in another video. Peace, everyone.